Welcome into another edition of SE Checks In, presented by First Texoma National Bank. We've got former Southeastern football player Kevin Jones with us. Kevin, what's going on?
How's it going? Good to see you.
And it's always good to see you. I love it when you drive by and honk at me. It's typically when I'm busy or I'm on a walk or I'm in a meeting, and I'm like, dang, man, that's Kevin. So
yeah,
it's always nice to run into you, and I appreciate you taking time to sit down and talk to us right now. Kevin Jones played at Southeastern from 2012 to 2016, redshirted, was a linebacker from Oklahoma City. So he came south and wanted to be about that savage life. Played in 44 games, started in 22 of them, 182 career tackles, 16 and a half tackles for loss, 4 fumble recoveries, 2 forced fumbles, had a block kick in there. He was an absolute animal on defense. He was a leading tackler in 2015 with 73 and in 2016. So he definitely got it done on the field, was a dog. So, we'll just kind of start there. What was it like growing up in Oklahoma City?
Man, Oklahoma City, when I think of Oklahoma City, I think of family.
Yeah.
I think of everyone that I grew up with. It started with the family we began at a young age. So I had a little league team called the Rockets. We were orange and blue. And that was my first family away from blood family, family away from family at home. So I think that's everything I remember from Oklahoma City. It's just family, love, and, it's home plate.
Yeah. So you start getting recruited, being a very productive football player in high school. Why Southeastern?
Southeastern was my only opportunity that I felt like, when we're in high school, everyone's D1, right? I got to go D1, this and that. And I went down to Southeastern and, Coach Richards was our coach. Coach Porter recruited me. And it was a good feel. And when I first went down there, I said, no, I wanted to see if I had better opportunities, but nothing came through. So, when God moves, it was on the border. It was right next to Dallas. It was, 2.5, 3 hours away from Oklahoma City. So mom and dad could get to the game.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, I just felt it was the God ordained decision for me to make that move and make the most out of the opportunity that was provided.
You definitely did that. So you come down here, obviously you redshirted in 2012. What was it like redshirting? Was that tough for you?
No, I think Coach Richards was the smartest guy now that I think back to it, as far as redshirting everyone who came in. That gave us such a boost over the competition physically, mentally, and like I have a master's degree, and I have to commend Coach Richards for making that move. I think that's very beneficial for guys who take advantage of working out in the off season, who take advantage of studying when we have time to study and study hall, catching up on grades, making sure you're adjusted to college before, that plate of starting for a university is on your shoulders as well. Yeah. So that was a blessing for me.
So after your redshirt year, a little bit of transition, new coaching staff comes in. How did Charlie Burks affect the way you think and the way you operate?
Militant. I was already a guy who wanted to get things done, but I had no structure, right? I had no professionalism about myself. So I think when Coach Atterbury came in and Coach Burks came as defensive coordinator, it was, this is paradise. So either you make this paradise and you make it the best that it can be, or you won't be a part of what we have going on. So I think that just stepping up to the plate and being amongst the few who actually could succeed in an environment like that, you got to show up 10 minutes to every meeting early. Yeah. So just the quality of things that I've learned from Coach Burks was, I can't even count them. It's unfathomable, the things that I applied to my day-to-day life from the order and structure that we built back in those years.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned being 10 minutes early. I talked to one of your old teammates, Pat Howard, the other day, and he still operates on savage time. So, it's ingrained in his head. So talk about playing at Southeastern, what it was like, some experiences you had playing 4 years on Saturdays.
Yeah. playing at Southeastern was the best thing that happened to me. When we first came in, you know, we weren't really good. And then we got a new coaching staff, and that's when, you know, I kind of remember. You don't really want to remember the losses and the bad times, right?
Yeah.
So my biggest experiences is when Coach Atterbury came in and he got the head coaching job, and I was actually going to transfer if he didn't get that job.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was our defensive coordinator before he came in, so I got to work with him that whole year before he became head coach. And so my experience, I would just remember those Henderson State games. You know, I remember those big games where we would prepare. You know, everybody's focused those weeks. You know, just at a different level. You know, we was always focused at every week, but those big games, and then we went to that bowl game and played Missouri. So my time plan was I couldn't even have drew it up any better than the way it went. You know, character building seasons, winning. I still communicate with all of the guys that I played with, but yeah, just running to the ball on during practice. You know, out in the sun. You know, I miss those days.
It's hot.
Yeah.
So, you know, you just hit something I was going to bring up, but I'll bring it up now. You know, your core group of guys, you know, that Ronnie Green and all them that you all still communicate, hang out with, meet up with. Talk about those relationships and how those happened at Southeastern.
Yeah. Southeastern is a hometown feel. So you're going to know everybody and everybody's going to know you, no matter if you like it or not. So I think that you really get to know what your crowd is and kind of what you want to do. So after I did before my internship, me and Ronnie's relationship really grew to the height that it's at now after my internship, after we got more business savvy.
Yeah.
But as far as the relationships that I built with Cayman, Raheem, CJ, and then the other guys, you know, it's a couple of guys who didn't make it through college. You know, it's a tough thing that you have to really focus and get done. Those are all natural. I'll tell you a funny story. We got one funny story. So me and Raheem's friendship became on the first day that we both showed up to camp. So we both showed up to camp and everyone's done with practice, right? So after practice, you know, you would usually go and shower and then go and get something to eat. Like, we're in college now. There's a whole nother level of thinking of what we're thinking about.
Yeah.
So me and Raheem noticed we're the only one who went back to the dorm, showered before we went to go eat. So we both walk in the caf, fresh shoes, fresh gear. We both look at each other like, okay, we think the same. We're boys.
Yeah. Hey, I tell people this all the time. The Raheem story that I have is y'all's freshman year, my senior year. I'm walking off the field, and you got that feeling when someone's just staring at you the whole time. Yeah. I'm walking, and I had the beard, and I had the mullet and all that, and Raheem's just staring at me, and I just was like, "What are you looking at?" And Raheem just looked dead face, goes, "Dude, how old are you?" And ever since then, it was hilarious. I tell people that all the time, and I was just like,
because you were playing, right?
Yeah, it was still when I was playing. Yeah, that was y'all's redshirt freshman year. I will never forget that. He just squared, how old are you? And I was like, man, how old am I? Why? What am I doing? So that was pretty funny. So, you know, we had a couple of new additions very recently. You know, in regards to the weight room, turf room. We'll get into that in a little bit, but what was it like for you working out in the old weight room under the stadium? You know, what did that do for you mentally and physically as a player?
Yeah, this goes back to the coaching staff that Coach Atterbury brought in. With Coach Coop in that dungeon. I think we spoke on it before we started recording. You had to be a dog.
Yeah.
So, you know, we'll play that Jeezy. We'll get that. We'll get the music going. We'll get the vibes going, and the work is on the board. So there is no question about what needs to be done, but there is always a militant as far as how do we do it. Every workout we rolled into off of a whistle. Yep. So blow the whistle. We all salute. We all commend on what the next workout is, and then we attack the next workout. And it was very militant, very militant. So I'll never forget Coach Richards. I asked him on my recruiting visit back in 2012. Tells you how old I am. I said, Coach, do we have are we going to get because that's when we had the old turf. That's even before the new turf.
Oh yeah.
So we didn't even have our names in the end zone. He's like, 100 yards is 100 yards. I said, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep. Yeah.
So it was that mentality, though. We had to get the job done. That doesn't need to be pretty. It's what do we got to get done today? Are we getting that done today? Are we moving forward? So that was that mentality. And, I love Coach Atterbury saying, it's another day of paradise. So you don't need all the glitz and glamour to be successful and knock out what you feel like you need to get done.
It's definitely a mentality. And when you look back at those people that we played with, or, when there was around, that mentality carries them into what they're doing today. And we'll get into that a little bit. So you mentioned, your master's and all that. Talk about your academics, graduating and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I got my bachelor's in occupational safety and health, and I did an internship for Boeing in 2015. Mm-hmm. So I improved their emergency action plan and employee accountability system. Immediately when I did the internship, I'm like, okay, I can do this for a while, but this is not my end goal. This is not what I want to get done. So I got back to school. I was already 3 years in, so I finished up the degree, but then I sat down and figured out what did I want to do with my master's? What did I want to actually so I'd already started trading with Ronnie, and then that's when me and Ronnie's, friendship kind of took off. We had psychology class together. When I got back, he was already trading in the market. And I kind of just asked him, hey, what are you doing? And then, he's like, you don't know the market? I'm like, how am I going to know the market? We've been playing football. You know what I mean? So then that led off into our first company. So we started our first company before me and him even graduated in 2016. And so I think that kind of opened my eyes up into, entrepreneurship. I kind of want to, work for myself. I want to actually build something, unique and different. And so it started there. And then I got my master's, sports administration, focus in finance. So, I kind of just took it from there. And our academics at Southeastern, I think we're top 5 with the safety program. So after I did that internship, I had opportunities for $90,000, out here in Dallas that I declined. I sit there and said I wanted to get a master's degree and learn how to trade the financial markets, that was the best decision that I made.
Well, I talked to a lot of people, about the safety program at Southeastern. There's a lot of football players that got their degree in that. And I can't stress enough, it is top tier.
Yeah.
You had almost 6-figure jobs coming out of college at 21 years old before you even graduated. That's how good this degree plan is. And so anybody that's watching this recruits, that safety program is massive, and they do great things, not only for athletic, student athletes, but anybody that's in that program.
Exactly.
The job market there is super competitive. So, so you graduate, you get done. How was that transition after graduating and becoming, work for yourself, entrepreneurial? Like, talk about that transition.
My transition was very, very slow. I had a slow process. See, a lot of people don't get this. You have to sacrifice to actually get somewhere in life. So for me, I could have, took the big corporate job and got the title and received the money or whatever. But for me, I had a longer term view of things. Mm-hmm. So my idea was it'll take me 1.5 years, 2 years to get my master's. I could focus on the market and also study for school and set up different opportunities because I was a sports guy. So either my master's in sports administration or finance. I was going either route. With the safety, I was going to do some consulting. So I think it's all about a plan. If I'm starting to think back to what I actually really wanted to do. And then I really just, I stayed in Durant all the way until 2018. I finished my master's in 2018. And then by that time, I had already, I can't say the universe works, God works. So, I had, there were some connections that I had. It was a guy out here in Dallas who ran 2 different offices in Houston. He ran a financial firm. And I finished my master's, and he's seen what I was doing with the market. He's seen the company that we created. I'm sorry, that's our. You're good. But so he seen the company that we created, and he wanted me to run his office in Plano. So that was my first opportunity. Starting in 2019, I was running the office in Plano. He ran the two in Houston. That didn't work out. So everyone, you're not going to be successful in your first go around. But I had to push through. So, I stuck with the market, and I continued to trade, and I continued to build what I believe to be true, which is life experience. It's the company that I have now. And, we believe in living first, being aware of the dominion that you hold over the earth, all of the resources that you have at Southeastern, all of the resources that you have available to you now. You have to utilize those to see what exactly can they do for you. And
Right.
then you fuel three. So you fuel your mind, your body, your spirit every day. So I do yoga, I meditate, I make sure that I'm continuous in prayer and connected to, my end goal and what I believe to be true for my existence. Mm-hmm. So that was my process. And then it's just kind of compound interest. So you stay consistent. Now I have bigger accounts. Now I have people wanting to invest into my company. And so I think it's a slow process, but it's not like, I started it up and it just worked out. No, I went 6 months at that company starting in 2019 and not making really anything. Mm-hmm. And that's just from, you learn a lack of innovation from the owner, a lack of things from my part. We all had to play our part. So you learn and you grow and, you make your conscious decision. I think once we all make up, we always hear it. If you put your mind to it, you can do it. And I think that that's just what's been applied.
So you've been doing that. Obviously, you've seen some of the transitions we've had here with obviously the new weight facility. What were your thoughts when you saw that new weight room online and in person?
That new weight room is immaculate. It's Division I. I thought Division I. I thought that Southeastern had stepped up to the next level, and it's ready for, it's ready to win. It's ready to continue what we started to build back in 2013, 2014.
Mm-hmm. So you talked about all your ventures that you're in now and doing that stuff and starting a business. How did playing football at Southeastern and being a student at Southeastern set you up to be able to do that?
Yeah, I think that without having that solid foundation of showing up 10 minutes early, of having a solid group of accountability guys around me that's going to actually, question if you didn't show up to workouts, question if you were late, question if you, misbehaved on campus, this and that. And so I think that it's a standard that we set at Southeastern, and it's the Savage way. We do things the right way. It's fight, finish, faith. Mm-hmm. So I think that the things that we built, in that community in Durant, Oklahoma, is definitely helped get me to where I am. And it's definitely something that I lean on as far as the relationships that I've created. And even with me and you, when I see me and you, it's powerful, our connection, our community. Because you're like you said, you were a senior, I was a freshman. So the conversations we had back then, even to fast forward now, are empowering. Yeah. So I think that just the relationships that you create, it's all about what you make it.
Well, and I think you mentioned empowering. I think one of the greatest things, especially, you learn as you get older, is seeing your friends and teammates be successful. You know what I'm saying? Because, we all grew up together, because you grow up when you're young, but you really grow up from your freshman year to your senior year in college. You know what I'm saying? That's when you start making life decisions. So from my perspective, seeing all our teammates and our friends and our people we interact with and them being successful is just, I don't know. It's just a feeling that it hits me. Like one of our buddies bought a house and I just was like, man, that's so cool that we've gone from, who knows what we were talking about on the football field to now buying a home, it's crazy how that transitions. And it's an awesome feeling to see our friends and teammates be successful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
it's a revelation for sure.
It's awesome. So I had a couple more things before we get done. I always ask people this: what does Southeastern Oklahoma State University mean to Kevin Jones?
It means the world to Kevin Jones. So without Southeastern Oklahoma State, there is no Kevin Jones that you see today. So I'm gonna just let you know a little bit on my long-term plan, what it means to me. I want to build a new safety facility because I got my degree in safety. Yeah. So I'll build us a new safety facility. You know, it's God forbid I'm successful as, you know, it may have be. And then I also want a new football facility. So I plan on reinvesting and always being connected and always being a Savage for a lifetime.
You know, and that's so important, you know, especially being a young alum, being engaged with our university, because, you know, at some point we're going to turn the corner, and we need more people like you that have that mentality. Like, no, like, I know where I'm at, and where I'm at is because of where I came from. And Southeastern is a big part of that. What else is there that I didn't bring up that you want to talk about, that you want to say? The floor is yours right now.
I don't have anything extra, much, you know. It's just hard work, dedication. Any recruits watching this, anybody watching this that hasn't been or thinking about going to Southeastern, it is a great move. It's somewhere where you can focus. It's somewhere right on the border, so you have access to 2 different states, and you can utilize every resource that you have access to. So now I'm in Dallas and I'm taking care of my business. So and everyone who's else watching, just a fan of Southeastern, I think that, you know, continue to be a Southeastern fan. We're all stronger together. Continue to push the community and the university forward. That way we all have something beautiful that we are a part of. And that's it.
Did you ever think you'd be in Dallas, Texas, living?
No, not really. I never thought about that. And then when it got closer to that time, then I'm like, it's either Oklahoma City or Dallas. I'm going to go with Dallas.
I feel you there. So, well, Southeastern faithful, former Savage Storm football standout Kevin Jones, leading tackler for 2 years, dog on the field, successful off the field. Wouldn't be where he is today without his coaches and Southeastern. Kevin, thank you so much for taking time today and sitting down and talking with us.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.